Should we start?
Yes, ma'am, we can start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Myself, Garima Rohela, Director in AICTE. On the behalf of AICTE, I welcome all the eminent professors from various universities who are attending the webinar and spare their valuable time for such a delicate talk. And I especially welcome ChangeInkk, who had taken the initiative for awareness of inclusion of students with specific learning disability in higher education, with handholding with AICTE. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that every individual gets the opportunity to learn and work in appropriate environment. Differently abled people have strong willpower, but they need some support from the system. And AICT wants to make sure that all differently abled students are aware of opportunities and initiatives for their growth and learning. And for this, AICT is running a scheme named Saksham, that is for differently abled students. And there is a Swayam platform which is available in AICT for providing the MOOCs for differently abled students. From last 2 years, AICT had conducted many webinars on PWD students. In 2021, webinar was on dyslexia, in which panelists expressed their views on problems related to dyslexia and also the importance of awareness regarding dyslexia. Next webinar, the area for improvement in dyslexic children were identified and shared many online tools for dyslexic students. Last year in 2022, AICT had conducted 5 webinars on inclusion of specific disabilities in university and educational institutes. This year also in May, June, AICT had conducted again 5 webinars for inclusivity. And AICT had in practice of conducting webinars on inclusivity from time to time basis. And even in the accreditation process, inclusivity is also considered as a graduate attribute as per Washington Accord. Finally, I am sure that you all be benefited from the webinar, and I wish this happens to be a wonderful session. Thank you. Thank you, Bhavya. You can start.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning to all of you. Today, we from ChangeInkk Foundation, we are going to talk about how can we work together towards creating inclusive campuses. A little bit insight on what ChangeInkk is. ChangeInkk is a non-for-profit organization based out of Delhi. We have our work spread across different states in the country. We work very closely with the regulators and we focus on creating enabling pathways for individuals with specific learning disability across cradle to career. So that would be school education, higher education, and also workplace. We particularly are going to focus on higher education campuses today and understand how can we create campuses that are more enabling, strengthen their inclusivity for students with specific learning disability. We'll do a quick recap of the last session that focused on understanding specific learning disabilities, understanding what the regulators in our country are doing, what are the mandates in our country, and also the practices of a few global leaders when it comes to higher education institutes. I would request you to please scan the QR code that you're seeing on your screen. And this is primarily to understand how helpful the session has been and how can we improve. It's just a 5-question survey. So I request you to quickly scan and fill the survey before we delve into the presentation. will work. I hope all of you have scanned the QR for the survey. We'll quickly begin with the recap of the last session before we understand what all are we going to touch in terms of creating inclusive campuses for today. So in the last session, we understood what is neurodiversity. It is the differences in the way which people's brain function, and under which we understood what is learning, specific learning disability, which includes dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia. These are different specific learning disabilities which are lifelong, they run in the family, and people with SLDs mostly have average and above average IQ. It's as common as 1 in 5 people around us. It's invisible, it's very difficult to see a person and tell that they are somebody who's struggling with a specific learning disability, and calls for a diagnosis through psychometric testing. Access to accommodation, assistive tools is something that really helps these individuals. Dyslexia is a specific learning disability that impacts your language processing skills. Dyscalculia impacts understanding, and the struggle mostly is based on gathering. Okay, you can keep scanning while I'll just do a quick recap of what is going on. Dyscalculia is something where an individual struggles with number-based information, while dysgraphia is related to fine motor skill struggles as specific as handwriting, tying shoelaces, buttoning up shirts. How do we understand and be able to decipher students who struggle academically and students who have specific learning disability? It's very crucial to understand the three aspects of dyslexia, which is academic, life skill, emotional well-being. We need to be sure that a student in the classroom is struggling with all three. And if the struggle exists in all these three aspects, we know that the child is at risk for specific learning disability. The first step towards that would be screening a student in terms of understanding if they're struggling with all these three aspects together. The second step after intervention, if there are no changes after you've screened an at-risk child, you should go ahead with diagnosis. Diagnosis is a formal procedure. The step one of it focuses on eliminating any visual or hearing impairment. The second is assessing the IQ, and the last would be a psychometric analysis that gives a formal diagnosis of the disability. Only after you're formally diagnosed and your disability is benchmarked for 40% or above severity are you provided with a disability card, a unique disability ID, which then further helps you get the relevant accommodation that exists for people with disabilities. While we understood the struggles, we also realized that a lot of the inventions around us that have enabled our lives are that of people with dyslexia, whether it be a light bulb, whether it be our laptops, the flight, so on and so forth. 40% of the self-made millionaires currently are dyslexic. So, which gets us to the question that if your processing skills for a language or number-based information is impacted, how are you able to generate successful inventions, sustainable startups, business ideas? That is because of something called the dyslexic edge. Students with dyslexia, while they will struggle with language, number based information, fine motor skills, they will also be empowered to be able to visualize, communicate well, reason, look at the big pictures, problem solve, and connect the dots to create a sustainable solution for the society at large. Struggles of students, particularly when it comes to higher education campuses, is inaccessible infrastructure, accommodation when it comes to what is the specific struggle related to their disability, and how can you understand and provide them with the relevant accommodation. We cannot go for a certain set of accommodation that fits all disability. It's very crucial to understand the specific needs of that particular disability. And then once they are on a campus, lack of centers of support is something that makes it very difficult for them to have an enabling life when it comes to college campuses. Now, quickly understanding what we as a country have done to tap into the critical resource pool of dyslexic thinkers. Rights of Persons with Disability Act in 2016 for the first time recognized specific learning disability, and it mandates 5% reservation for persons with disability, not just specific learning disability, but the 21 identified disabilities in government and government aided institutions. It focuses on providing and enabling an equitable system for students with disability as well, at the very beginning of foundational learning till their college lives. The new education policy focuses and is in a consonance with the provision of the RPWD Act 2016 and focuses on enabling full participation throughout the learning journey of a student. It does focus on ensuring equitable access to quality education. And that's why we are together to understand that how right now can we create these inclusive campuses. NEP also emphasizes on the importance of inclusive education. It recognizes the role of technology in promoting inclusive education and improving access for students with disability, and also encouraging the integration of assistive technology and devices in classroom to support different needs of a diverse student within one campus. The three regulatory bodies in our country, NTA, AICTE, and UGC, have very imperatively focused on how can you make sure that students with disability, right from the process of admission, entrance exams are accommodated as per the needs of the disability. And then also once they are on the campus, AICTE and UGC have tremendous guidelines that focuses on supporting them right from the application process to selecting a course to understanding their needs, providing them scholarship, sponsorship, and also very specific need-based support in the classroom.
And I think what I've tried to do is inform the faculty of what dyslexia is, no matter how bright or accomplished or educated. So to work with the faculty at conferences individually. And that's when you find out a number of the faculty are dyslexic. And I think we are very, very fortunate that at Yale, that people who are in administration have been very, very supportive. For example, at our Yale Center, we, anybody that they might have trouble learning or have dyslexia are referred. It's amazing how and what people were just saying. I mean, one of the things, for example, is learning a foreign language. We were seeing so many students that are working so hard, students who are dyslexic, on their foreign language requirement. And they weren't succeeding, and it was taking their time from courses they could succeed in. So very fortunately at Yale, I was able to work with people at the highest levels, government, so that people helping you to understand the country, the culture.
So we just currently understood that how important it is for us to understand the struggles of a certain disability, to be able to provide for the accommodation to the students, and also understand their struggles so that we can focus on how can we support them when it comes to the things that they are struggling with and try to get them at power, and also try to strengthen things that they are excelling at. So it's very important to focus on both sides of the learning journey of the students. A few of the top universities around the world that we have right now that are focusing on supporting students with SLD would be MIT. MIT has almost 50% of the people on the campus, including faculty, who have dyslexia. Then we have Yale's, Brown, Stanford. Then we also have a few Indian universities that we can see: Ashoka, IIM Bangalore. The focus for us is to get more and more universities and make sure that there are no top universities when it comes to quality support that is being provided to students with disability. These are few of the center of support that are across the global leaders that we have, which is MIT, Yale's, University of California, Stanford, Ashoka, and IIM. The different pillars of how these global leaders have excelled in trying to create an inclusive campus focuses on counseling support, academic support, providing assistive technologies, training people on campus, including both students and faculty, for the usage of assistive tools, and also research around how to do and focused interventions, and also get funding that focuses on research when it comes to neuroscience, cognition, and assistive technology. Now, going ahead, we are going to focus on how to create these ecosystem on campus that are enabling for students. That is what we are going to focus on, right from creating campuses that are inclusive, which focus from how can you support them in classroom, how can you support their learning styles, how can you accommodate their needs when it comes to examinations, why is it important, and also focusing on how to create systems that are enabling when it comes to online training, creation of module and content. Academic support is the focus when we talk about creating inclusive campuses. We need to make sure that the course material is provided in accessible formats. There is just not one go-to physical format which is providing a book to a student, but also understand different accessible formats that can strengthen their learning journey. Instructional aids and services, for example, note takers, scribes, assistive devices like note taking devices, features that can be used within the classroom, providing alternative assignment deadlines for students who struggle with their executive functioning. Accommodation in terms of examination focuses on compensatory time, a distraction reduced setting when it comes to their seating, clarification of questions when it comes to tutoring, counseling, and peer support together make the academic life and the journey of the student more enabling. For students, counseling support is very, very important. Coaching and academic planning support becomes very crucial when one is struggling with time management and juggling different activities. Providing them with a plan and assisted format of how to take this ahead really is helpful for them. Mainstreaming admission based on need assessment at the time of admission. Again, the focus should always be on providing need-specific accommodation, whatever is the call for the struggle that is arising from the particular disability. The focus should be on that. One set of accommodation will not fit all students with disability. Availability of on-campus champions to advocate is very, very important to create awareness, have sensitization sessions across faculty and also peer groups on campus. Faculty capacity building towards inclusive pedagogy is very important when you're trying to assist and provide an equitable classroom. It's very crucial to understand what is inclusive pedagogy and what are the different needs of the learners in your classroom. Mental health support will focus on how you can assign campus buddies, if there's an office that can support the different challenges of the student. Access to resources becomes very, very crucial when you're trying to support students with disability. Provision of AT, which is assistive technology, is very, very crucial. It's very important to build the capacity of the facilitators and the teachers to be able to use assistive technology, and availability of non-academic resources, like how can you support them plan, manage their time, have help associated to executive functioning, makes it very, very crucial for them to be able to lead a successful student's life. Assistance in making again the course material accessible, whether the one being provided or whether the one being taught in the classroom. The last would be employment and opportunity related support. So we know that this is a pathway, this is a crucial pathway and transitioning system when it comes to higher education institute, out of which we have a huge percentage of students that further go for their jobs and they look for entrepreneurship opportunities, employment opportunities. So it's very, very important for us to create that enabling system right outside of college campuses, which focuses on internship, employment, and focuses on the industry related stakeholders. How can we begin? We can start focusing on creating a disability support unit, equal opportunity facilitation cell. This is mandated both under AICTE and UGC. Look forward and create capacities in terms of sensitization awareness of not just faculty but admin and student staff. Accelerate research and development for and by individuals with SLDs, and try to create a culture of inclusion on campus. How can we enable all students to participate in regular classroom? It's very crucial to make sure that all students are accommodated in regular classroom. It's also very tricky to be able to do that. Therefore, we are going to understand that how can we begin, what does it mean to provide equal participation in regular classrooms?
It is the key, basically. Being able to design a curriculum that is inclusive is that where we all kind of strive. And I mentioned courses, and they all have the different challenges. But for example, starting for exams can be really difficult for neurodiverse students, and the writing and the time pressure and so on. So even a change in the way that assessment is done and providing kind of a different way of assessing, not just one way, but so for example, allowing people to show what they know in different ways. And it could be by writing, it could be by presenting, it could be by debating, it could be, in by portfolio. Of course, it is dependent on the course, but just introducing a different way of assessment.
One of the ways to accommodate students within one classroom is to make sure that the curriculum provided has many options. It becomes the key for the student to be able to come at par with their struggles, but also excel with their strengths. We'll focus on universal design learning. What is it? What do we mean by it? It's a framework for teaching and learning that helps give all students an equal opportunity to succeed. We often confuse that it is one way to teach all students, but it's actually the opposite, having to build many ways in terms of uh, trying to accommodate the needs of different learners in your classroom. Uh, this can be done by building in flexibility in the way learners can access information and in the way students can demonstrate their knowledge. So, how are you imparting knowledge within a classroom? What are the different possible ways you can use to do the same thing? And also use similar ways to assess their knowledge as well. It's the key in creating accessible e-content that will be inclusive for students in a classroom. Uh, why do we need universal design learning? We need to understand that there is no such thing as a typical learner. We don't have a specific kind of a learner that we are focusing. There might be a possibility that the composition of different learning style might vary. You might have more certain kind of learners in your classroom, but not all will be same kind of learners. UDL is inherently inclusive not only for children with SLDs but for all learners. That's why it's very important for us to focus on this as faculty, that universal design learning will not just help students with disability thrive, but it will focus on the needs of all kind of learners in the classroom. Lesson planning using universal design for learning addresses needs of different learners, different learning levels in the same classroom, and different learning styles. So you will have learners who learn differently. You will have learners at different levels in the classroom who might be struggling with a particular subject, a particular part within a particular subject, the framework of a curriculum, and the others will have a different learning style. It is something that helps you overcome poor learning outcomes and different learning styles while accounting for students with SLDs and different disabilities. Now, focusing on what are these different learning styles. Learning styles basically, when we use this terminology, is focusing on how we are processing information. There is no one style in which all of us process information. A lot of us are very verbal when it comes to exchange of knowledge, imparting of knowledge. Some of us are visual, some of us are auditory learners, some of us are kinesthetic learners. You would see that some students perform really excellent when they're group activities while the others struggle, but they perform very well when they have to submit an assignment or do any project that they have to lead individually. Uh, there is no one way to be intelligent, and that is what we need to understand, that all your students have certain strength in the classroom. It's just how we can unlock their strengths. Instructors and facilitators within a classroom setup should be able to use multiple ways and modes to help their students have a better learning journey. Framework for UDL will focus on usability, accessibility, and inclusion. The framework for high quality and flexible learning environment addresses the skill and challenges of all learners, and we decide to have various checkpoints that are necessary for all students to reach the goal. What does this really mean? We'll have different skill sets, and because of those different skill sets and learning styles, it becomes very important for us to also understand that with different ways of processing the knowledge, we'll have different challenges. We need to make sure that when we are providing content, we will not try and provide content that is one size that fits all. Curriculum or content format. We'll try to produce the knowledge, impart the knowledge in different way. We'll make it very simple and intuitive when it comes to usability. When it comes to accessibility, the format should be provided in a form of a book, notes, audio, visual, PDF. And when it comes to inclusion, we need to integrate the different learning styles. Some of your students will be very good with presentations. Some of them will be very, very good with written assignments. Some of them will be very creative when it comes to being able to showcase the knowledge that they have taken from that particular classroom. So our focus as facilitators should be giving them, providing them with different types of format, not just to learn, but also express their knowledge. Three principles for it focuses on multiple means of engagement, known as the why of learning. For purposeful, motivated learners, this stimulates interest and motivation for learning. Then we focuses on multiple means of representation, that is the what of learning. With UDL, it is crucial to provide multiple options for representation of content. For example, learners with disabilities may have different requirement when it comes to their assignments, assessments. Multiple means of action and expression would be the how of learning. This refers to the ways in which learners navigate the learning environment. Some of them might struggle to organize the different knowledge material, content material that is being provided to them. Some might struggle with the time management. So their struggles would be different. How they participate in the classroom will be different. How they take the knowledge that is being given in the classroom would be different. So we need to focus at different levels as facilitators. How can we accommodate the different needs of a student?
The whole idea behind universal design is that it's important for every student. And here in the Academic Center for Excellence at Bryant, we also have our support services for our international students and English as a second language students. And as we discuss universal design with our faculty, we are finding that if we focus on just disability, it's harder for them because they see that as a small segment of the population. But if we focus on all students, and we also talk about our English as a second language students, that we can really show that universal design concepts can apply for them and can help them to learn more effectively in the classroom. So for example, even doing something like adding captions to your videos can help English, students who are studying the English language to know exactly what's happening in the classroom and to better access the material. Also, if we provide note-taking technology that students who may not be able to write quickly, whether they have learning disabilities or they aren't able to fluently write in English, are able to succeed. So it's really a matter of taking those universal design concepts and helping the faculty to know that it's not just students with disabilities. And university-wide, if we talk about this, it's much better than if it comes just out of my area, because they don't necessarily see that then as applying to the whole population.
This particular video focuses on how is child's learning needs, the learning challenges of the students, and then focus on strengthening things that they excel at, and also providing them different formats, different modes to not only learn, but also for us to be able to evaluate their learnings. Tutorial strategies for the classroom. We are going to touch base in terms of what are these strategies and how could they be replicated in the classroom. The six ways of being able to overcome barriers within a classroom setup focuses on how can you deliver content through a variety of mediums. There is always more than one medium of delivering content. You could give lectures, you could show videos, there could be a lot of visual representation, there could be an external activity, there could be group activities, and the format in which the content is being provided to them should be just more than lectures and notes. Provide lesson goals. It's very crucial for you as facilitators to be able to provide a roadmap in terms for a student to understand that what is expected out of them to take away when it comes to that particular lesson and what is the goal we are trying to achieve. What this helps a student with is to be able to understand the challenges that they might have when the goal setting happens, and for you to understand how to accommodate those specific needs related to the challenges that are highlighted. Give students different options for showcasing their understanding. Again, when it comes to assessment, you should be able to, when it comes to assignment, you should be able to also let them have the possible options in which the material was taught to them. Group activity, external activity, presentations, recording, a talk, notes, written assignments to showcase their knowledge. Offer flexible workspaces. You might have a lot of students who take their own time, would need their preferential distraction-free environment to be able to come back with a particular assignment. Also, when it comes to assessments, right, helping them be in a less overstimulated space will help them perform better. Offer feedback and plan for assessments together with them. Our digital accommodation is something that really works well when it comes to providing different modes and formats and mediums to assess. A quick recap, which is then we'll start focusing on leveraging technology. Our technology plays a very crucial role. If you remember, then we focused on this as one of the pillars to strengthen the learning journey of a student. UDL more than often focuses on improving learning outcomes, creating diverse learning materials, catering to students with varying abilities and learning styles. It is very important that technology is used as an enabler, but how do you use technology as an enabler? The RPWD Act across different section focuses that skill development, including training development and upgradation of skills, knowledge, expertise, or employability of a person with disability will always include use of assistive technology. It also emphasizes the need to promote equal opportunities for PWDs, including promotion and use of assistive devices and technologies. The Act underscores the importance of research and development that can happen when it comes to creating assistive devices, tools, ways to promote and enhance the quality of life with a person with disability. While a lot of focus over here in terms of use of assistive technology is that for people with disability, but it also will support the learning journey and skill development of all students. When it comes to the National Education Policy 2020, it recognizes the role of technology in promoting inclusive education and improving access for students with disability and encourage the integration of assistive technology tools and devices in classroom support of the diverse learning needs of students. Why are we focusing on this is for us more than often the stereotype that exists is that when you're trying to integrate technology in assessments, in assignments, in entrance exams, in day-to-day classroom learning, it is a way of maybe overcoming the rigor of the knowledge, or it's cheating. For example, when it comes to visual impairment, we are more than often provided glasses. This is a tool that helps me read better, right? Similarly, there are a lot of technical assistive tools that will help a student learn better. And this is for their integration and for them to excel. This is not for them to escape the rigor of the knowledge that is being provided. Therefore, it's an accommodation and it's not a way out or cheating for them. Now, looking at what are the different mandates across the regulators when it comes to assistive technology, AICTE very clearly mandates inclusive campus infrastructure should include AT hardware, software, and also training and capacity building, allowing use of assistive devices in classrooms and also in examination, promoting inclusive pedagogy by incorporating assistive technology in teaching, and investment in promotion of research and development when it comes to assistive technology. UGC similarly mandates assistive technology along with training and allowing use of devices within classrooms and also during examinations. NTM mandates use of assistive technology in examination for persons with disability. Use of AT when it comes to examination is something that has been mandated by the different regulatory bodies because this is one of the ways to provide an equitable platform for a person with disability to be able to showcase their knowledge. Uh, NEP, as we very well know, endorses adoption of universal design learning. It encourages the role of technology and encourages integration of such technical tools and devices in classroom support to improve the learning journey. It also focuses on creating innovative solutions when it comes to research and development. Talk about how can we leverage technology to facilitate universal design learning. It could be through a mean of any device or software, and it will focus on the wide range of different abilities and challenges. It will enable a user to interact in the manner that works the best for them. It will focus on the go-to principle of universal design learning, which is how to incorporate the different needs of learners while you're teaching them in a classroom. Assistive technology could be a device, a software, or an equipment that helps them learn better, communicate better, function better. AT helps people who learn and think differently work around their challenges. And these challenges could be reading, writing, calculating, breaking down complex concepts, time management, etc. Uh, it could be something as basic as a walking cane, glasses, or something like an assistive tech feature. What are these assistive tech features? We'll look into it further. Also, we have to understand that while assistive technology is supporting the needs of disability, it will also focus on the needs of temporary disability or progressive disabilities that exists. So AT will help you accommodate a sudden need that arises from the struggles of a disability within a classroom. This is a quick activity we have that what could be a possible way for you to look for a song or a particular content on YouTube without typing the name of the song. I would want you to put the answer in your chat boxes. What is that one assistive feature that helps you search for a song or content on YouTube without having to type it? You can just put your answers in the chat box. Okay, speech to text, something that we have been using of late whenever we go to the search widget on different platforms like Google. We always have a small mic image that is there, and when you press it, you can always see, and your device, whether it be your phone, your television, your computer, your laptop will type out what you're saying. It's called speech to text. It has become very, very common in our day-to-day lives. Now, these are the different features that assist the various functions of teaching and learning, which is reading, writing, watching, listening. A technology like text to braille, text to speech, display control, speech to braille or speech to text, controlling the moving or animated content, highlighting the text. OCR technology is something that is very, very important and crucial when it comes to the application that involves reading. When the process involves writing, technology features like speech to text, which is dictation, which we just saw that happens when you're trying to search for something. Spell check is something which is very common when we're typing texts on WhatsApp or our mailboxes. Word prediction, more than often when you're trying to type something, for example, on a mail, your system will give you the prompt for finishing the sentence, which is called word prediction. Digital whiteboard access, where you can write on digital boards like on platforms like WebEx, Zoom, Google has become very common. When it comes to watching, audio description, pre-recording, QR codes is very imperative. For listening, audio control, you can choose the speed, you can play pause as per your own speed of understanding the knowledge that is being imparted through any audio medium. Foregrounded, sign language translation, closed captioning, text to speech. These are not exhaustive, but the main features that come handy when we are trying to have any application like reading, writing, watching, listening that comes to play. These features have been inbuilt across the three tech giants. All our devices that we have currently are under the three brand names that you can see on your screen. The different applications that they provide in terms of supporting features are mentioned here. For example, Google Voice typing, Dictate in Office, and Mac dictation. They are the same features, which is speech to text, but are in the different names. But what I'm trying to say that all the tech giants are providing assistive features that are very, very crucial for us to have a very successful and enabled learning journey. These software functions are already available in the devices that we have at home, in our classroom, in our computer labs. We just need to unlock these features and use the features provided across the different operating systems that we have. These are the few versions that are available for similar features in form of apps that can really help you provide content through different mediums, also provide suggestions to your students to be able to learn in the manner that suits them the best. Some of them would have paid subscription, some of them would not, and this is not an exhaustive list, but this is something that you can quickly look at when there are certain functionalities and features that a child is struggling with, and this could come handy. Where should you begin when it comes to assistive technology? You can start incorporating research and thesis around these topics. You can accelerate tech innovations, and you can start talking about what will be the specific need of a student and how can it be adjusted by that of providing them with the various features that exist across our devices. Now, understanding how can we mainstream this accessibility on e-learning platforms. A lot of our campuses now focus on e-learning platforms. A lot of learning is online. It's across various learning platforms. How do we mainstream that? We can focus on three key elements of learning management platforms. Any e-learning platform that we use right now is an LMS platform. They either provide e-learning across different formats, which is video, audio, books, The platform functionality should be very accessible. And how can we look at e-assessment with a lot moving online, a lot of teaching assessment moving online? How can we leverage technology to support students with disability? We will focus on e-learning content, assessments, and platform functionality. Any e-learning content is provided across three formats, which is video, audio, and text. But currently there is lack of standardization, which makes it very difficult for you to vouch for the e-learning content that is available, because it might or it might not assist the needs of all the learners in the classroom. So we need to demand for standardization. What is standardization? Standardization in types of formats. All formats should be available in audio, video, and text format. And the accessibility features, there should be minimum possible accessibility features that are provided across these platforms. What is the value in creating standard accessible e-content? Why should we as facilitators, we as researchers, we as people who enable research focus on accessible e-content? It caters to the needs of diverse learners under one roof. How does it do that? If you see on the extreme left, we have types of e-learning content which fall under a certain application, which is reading. So if the application of the course material is reading, it will be provided as PDF books, text and videos, website, e-assessments, e-meeting, chatbot interaction, and the accessibility features that can make that application accessible would be text to speech, OCR, display control, voice research, a QR code for hard copies that direct them to the soft copy, which is accessible, highlighting and annotation tools. And if you see these features that you see under the accessibility feature list, they come, for example, anything like a text to speech when it comes to reading will help somebody with specific learning disability, visual disability. For hearing disability, it could always be text to speech. IDs, locomotor disabilities, speech and language disabilities. So by creating accessible content, by incorporating certain go-to features, you make sure that you're catering to the needs of diverse learners. Second, standardization is not very expensive. There is no separate budget that needs to be allocated when it comes to creating videos. And if the application is watching, just by incorporating few features like audio control, audio description, closed captioning is something that really helps students across disabilities, across needs to be able to learn from that content. When it comes to how to leverage technology in terms of accommodating, a lot of examination assessments have gone online, right? And when it is done physically, right, we always provide scribe, a reader. We can give compensatory time to the people who are taking the examination, but when it's online or when there is lack of human resource, how can you substitute these with technology? For example, for a scribe, if you don't have a scribe or a person that can help write for a person who might be incapacitated to write for that particular assessment, speech to text software comes handy. Spell check is very important. Word prediction, digital whiteboard access makes it very easy. Again, we have to focus that this is not bypassing the rigor or the need in terms of what you're assessing for a student, but this is helping a student be able to express their knowledge better. For reader, again, the situation where it's an online examination or a physical examination, but there's a lack of human resource, text to speech, control for font, type and sizes, video audio speed control really helps. For example, if it's very difficult for a student to read, something like choosing the color and the size of the font, the type of the font becomes very important. Compensatory time is something that can be maneuvered both online and offline when it comes to assessments.
The whole idea behind universal design is that it's important for every student. And here in the Academic Center for Excellence at Bryant, we
So we are going to now focus on inclusive placements. This is very crucial more than often while you have set up a very inclusive system in place for a student to thrive on campus, inclusive pedagogy, accommodations when it comes to examination, accommodation when it comes to assignments. Uh, but when it comes to placement, which is employment opportunity, internship opportunities, here you will start dealing with external stakeholders, which are employers, industry players. How do you make sure that that process is inclusive? Again, rights of persons with disability focuses on the fact that employers are required to formulate and implement an equal opportunity policy to ensure equal treatment of persons with disability in all respects, from recruitment to promotion, career development, and for employing them. Now, as the policy suggests that for employers, they need to be inclusive. What are the basic struggles that we focus on? Awareness is one of the go-to struggles. More than often, the students don't know what are the possible opportunities that are available for them. And the employers don't know that while a student might be a person with disability, but they have a certain skill set which has been strengthened across the learning journey, and it can come handy to that of an employer. So it's very important to create that connect. Low awareness of right and mandated accommodation for placement process makes it impossible for a student to sometimes sit for a particular opportunity during placements, during internships, when the industry leaders are there on campus. Preparing them for jobs, job readiness is something that we have to work very strongly around our students for them to one understand what are the rights that exist. In absence of focused placement training for students with SLD or struggling in terms of disclosing and advocating for them, sometimes the students might be very overstimulated and step back and not apply for a job that is very well suited for their skill set and their potential. When it comes to implementation, lack of focused outreach for neurodiverse candidates, non-inclusive internship and placement processes, lack of implementation of mainstream accommodation during the placement process is a hindrance. For example, you have a circular that reads out all the particular opportunities for a given internship. Are we providing that format, that information in various accessible formats or not? Could be as basic as that when we look at inclusive processes for placement. The regulatory body guidelines very well defines how to assist and support students with disability uh, to have a successful employment experience. UGC focuses that successful employment upon degree completion, ensuring that various notifications regarding employment schemes, date, application are available in accessible formats. They also focus on creating awareness around inclusive employment and the potential of persons with disability, both across prospective employees and employers. So it's a two-way process where you need the industry to be ready and prepared for accommodating persons with disability as employees, and for employees to understand their rights and how to explore and demand for accommodation through the placement process. AICTE also focuses on placements and both internship support services for students with SLDs, sensitization of employers regarding the struggles and also the strengths of students with specific learning disabilities. Internship is a very crucial process because this is something that not only prepares the students but also the employer when it comes to career advancement activities and skill building. Okay, this is a very crucial representation of why we need to prepare the employers for the potential of students with a specific learning disability. When you think of an employer, more than often, when you say that we have students with specific learning disability, they think that they will be looking at a set of employees that will have challenges with time management, they will have challenges with finding the right word when talking, will make grammatical and typo errors, will tend to get overstimulated. This is the basic exposure. But while they have some understanding of the struggles, it's very important to highlight the strengths and also make them understand that why the potential of a student with specific learning disability, their dyslexic edge becomes very important for an employer to understand and be able to tap into this resource of critical thinkers to even excel at workspace and support the sustainability of that organization. For example, they might make grammatical errors, they might have time management issues, but they'll be able to convey complex ideas in a simple manner. They're very good with leadership, delegation. They will approach the problems very creatively. They'll be able to solution in a sustainable manner. They're very resilient. They'll be very open to tackling new challenges. They will be able to make sense of spoken language. They'll be able to understand the patterns where everybody else is struggling and be able to solution for that. So while the tip of the iceberg, the visible part of the iceberg is something that an employer may be aware of, but that will just focus on the strength, it's very important for us as admins to focus on what are the different skill set that they bring together with them. If you look on the screen currently, you will see some of the most successful people who have created inventions uh, that have gone a long way, that have been sustainable, that have been visionary. For example, Alexander Graham Bell invented a phone, and the first telephone that was invented was very physical when it came to the usability. But at that time, he did make a statement, and that is due to his visionary ability that said there'll be a time one day when you will be able to see the person who you're talking to, which now we are so used to the video calling system. The different pillars that we need to focus on when it comes to creating successful employment and internship opportunities is awareness and outreach for employers, job readiness for students, mapping different profile in terms of what is the skill set of a student and what would be the profile that it will be the best suited for, and employer sensitization. Uh, the transitioning part will focus on sensitization and advocacy. You will have to equip students with information regarding their rights, sensitize placement site members, advocate for students with specific learning disability, and highlight their strength. You need to increase job readiness, which is conduct on-campus drive, provide exposure through internship opportunities, provide tailored professional training and mentoring, and mapping interests to relevant profiles. So you need to map the skill set to the different profiles that exist. Inclusive hiring process, it's very important for the right student to get through the right employer. Like we have inclusive examination, entrance examination system. Similarly, because this is a transition process, the process of placement should also be smooth and transparent. Where should you begin with? Sensitization and awareness is the key for both people in the campus placement cell and also employers. We have to conduct various internship readiness programs, create stimuli for how can a student prepare, create mock interviews, have regular advocacy that tackles the stigma around neurodiverse hiring, focus on why it is very imperative to get neurodiverse, to get the skill set that the neurodiverse students provide, and maintain a database of students with disability and track their success stories. It becomes very, very, very important for a student to have that sense of confidence that with the right exposure, with the right advocacy, they'll be able to have a successful pathway. People who are already in the industry who are neurodiverse should be made the champions who should be able to advocate for more people with similar disabilities. We need to do this to make sure that we do not miss out on the next genius from our campuses. I would quickly request all of you to give us a post-session survey to make sure what should be the next steps for us from this webinar. And then we can, in the meanwhile that you have post-session surveys, in the meanwhile, please you can unmute yourself to ask questions. You can put your questions in the chat box and we can answer your questions. Also, we'll be sending a guidebook, a soft copy of the guidebook to all our participants that will focus a very detailed knowledge product that will focus on how to create inclusive campuses, what are the different mandates across the different regulatory bodies, and how can you actually implement it on your campus. So you're free to ask questions. Please put your questions in the chat box. So we'll be providing our higher education, how to create inclusive campus guidebook to all of you, which will be more detailed. And the presentation has been hosted on the AICTE YouTube channel, so it will be made available there for all as well. Please note down our email ID in case of any questions that you have. You can always reach out to us on info@changeinkk.org. We would also like to thank on behalf of ChangeInkk Foundation to AICTE, especially Garima ma'am, for being very, very supportive, for handholding us, create a presentation that is relevant to all the stakeholders, all the facilitators, head of their departments, faculty members who joined us today. And over to you, Garima ma'am.
Thank you, Bhavya. I would like to thank you, Bhavya, ChangeInkk, for the informative and interesting session on RPWD that was related to the NEP and RPWD Act and the steps taken by the government and AICTE for PWD students of higher education. And you have also discussed about the importance of AT assistive technology in everyday life and various examples of AT softwares also. That was really a great session. Thank you, Bhavya. Thank you, ChangeInkk.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And thank you for attending all the faculty members for this great session.